All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the BXR Podcast. We got a little bit of a different lineup here. So we got the regular Jared over there in the corner, and then joining us we have J-Man. He's our resident Destiny expert. So we're gonna talk about Destiny a bit today, and obviously all sorts of other stuff that's come out or just general topics. PopQ might be joining us. We're not too sure. His microphone broke right before we were supposed to go live, so he's up in the air. Maybe he'll show up. We also brought this nice image of Cade 6 along just to remind us of how cool we could have been, but unfortunately we failed in life. So before we hop in, PopQ said he'll be there in a sec. Perfect. We'll get him in here as soon as he's ready. He can replace
we keep Cade though?
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have them split the webcam, just right down the middle. But before we dive in too deep, J-Man, why don't you tell everyone what you do?
Okay, so I guess I'm like everyone else here and just play a crap ton of video games. Like you mentioned, Destiny, love Halo, playing a lot of new games recently, like Remnant. Looking forward to Starfield. And yeah, just kind of your average gamer who's in his 30s who hasn't been able to put this hobby down, pretty much.
Wow, what a boomer.
That hits home. We're all in our 30s.
Yeah.
So
it's I feel like all I had to do was say that, and you guys would just completely understand me, you know?
But you also make YouTube videos, mostly Destiny, but I've been seeing you've been trying some different stuff on there.
Yeah, I've definitely done a lot of the streaming and YouTube stuff over the years. Like, I've been doing it for a while, and Arash, like, you're at the point too where you learn how much effort it is when you really learn the ins and outs of how to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm always like kind of flirting with new ideas and whatnot and seeing what a level of effort I can put in for a good return. So, testing some things out.
For sure, I feel that. Well, one of the main topics today is going to be Destiny, but we might fumble around a little bit here, maybe burn some time while we wait for PopQ, because I think he actually would want to talk about that. So before we do that, this wasn't on the topic list, but why don't we talk? I guess it's Destiny related, so I lied a little bit. Why don't we talk about your tournament, Mr. J-Man? You're a tournament organizer for Halo these days.
Yeah, Halo and Destiny, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see myself as someone who's a big advocate for Halo. Like, I really want to see my Destiny friends who are disappointed with like kind of the direction of the Crucible and remind them that Halo is a similar yet different experience that I personally believe is what they're actually looking for. Like, they're looking for a more FPS driven game where you're really focusing on using weapons as opposed to abilities, as well as just having like a little bit more of a balanced sandbox and getting new maps and new modes. So the thought process for this was I wanted to create a tournament that kind of featured both Destiny and Halo a little bit to kind of bridge the gap for a lot of these very talented Destiny players and give them the opportunity to kind of feel home in Halo while still strongly representing, the Halo Infinite sandbox as it is today at the same time. And I think a lot of people like found that to be very interesting. I think there's a lot of folks like myself that do really enjoy Destiny and Halo, and I'm really excited to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a super fun tournament. I think the one cool thing about Infinite, we like to give it some shit around here, but with Forge and the custom game like Sweet, you can really come up with some super cool like tournament ideas. Like you're doing kind of like a Destiny themed one. You could do like a COD themed tournament. You could also do stuff that you could do themed around like anything. It doesn't even have to be like other franchises too. There's a lot of cool stuff that could be run, and I think it's one of the parts of like the grassroots Halo scene that is very, very lacking. Is like, one, people don't really run that many things anyways, but when they do, it's usually like, all right, here's a free-for-all tournament, here's a 4v4 tournament, here's a doubles tournament. Like, it's really basic tournaments, and I feel like at the grassroots level, when you're not going to have the funding and you're not going to have like the big production and stuff like that, I think one way that you can gain interest is by doing different things. Because like, if you just run another like regular open bracket 4v4 tournament, but instead of, playing for HCS or like HCS points or like trying to qualify for one of the big lands, you're just playing for like $100. That most people don't even like show up with a full team. A lot of people don't play, but if you like throw something different where you like run a unique 4v4 tournament, maybe playing a different game mode or even like testing out bandit starts or something, there's a lot of room there that I think people could do some really fun stuff with. So I'm excited for your tournament. I hope it does really well and it like encourages people to try and host like different things. I think it'd be really fun. Recently they've been running those like CHL tournaments, which I think kind of fit around the same lines, which is like a throwback to classic Halo, and a lot of teams that like I think the 4v4 one had like 60 teams sign up for it, which is pretty fun. But yeah.
Yeah, some of you're I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. I personally think the classic Halo stuff is really interesting, and I actually played a couple of matches the other night just for fun because we happened to have like 8 people in the lobby. I was like, hey, like I really wanted to play this classic Guardian match because I just wanted to see how it felt, and it was super nostalgic.
Yeah,
Just having a simple sandbox like we did back in the day and just kind of like going at each other.
I won't lie, I love the CHL settings. If they had like a proper playlist in the game, I'd probably play it a ton. Right now it's kind of a pain because I'll give them their props, the CHL community, they run events and they have a Discord bot that does matchmaking. Unfortunately, it just doesn't have very many people. So like when I tried to play it in the past, you just end up waiting a lot. Whereas if I could just hop into the game and play CHL like ranked or even like social as opposed to custom game browser stuff, I feel like I'd play it a lot. But Jared, have you played the CHL stuff very much?
I have not played any of the CHL stuff much at all. I've just kind of stayed away from Infinite for quite a while now, but
All right, yeah, this is
like
understandable. When Jared plays Infinite, it's actually like a different video game, so we can't blame him.
but to be fair though, I do like seeing all of these different style of tournaments being hosted by various people in the communities because I just think it's good to just have a little life for the people who care about that kind of stuff, who are just kind of left out to dry with the state of, Halo and Destiny as well. And also, the tournaments I kind of like the most too are the ones that kind of restrict a little bit, like you can't have a pro on your team, like no pros in this tournament. Because I feel like a lot more people who are maybe a little more casual but want to kind of dip their toes into those style of tournaments have a chance to actually kind of go in, compete a little bit. It's one of those things like if you lose in the first round, maybe you'll never come back to try another tournament, to where if you could get past that first round, maybe get past the second, you kind of, you get that excitement. It's like hitting a good golf shot or getting a strike in bowling. Like you get that little bit of a rush. It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can do this. Maybe I really do enjoy this, and I want to come back and do it a little bit more. So that's kind of what I like about these different style of tournaments that we've been seeing.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure because I'm definitely kind of along that boat where, like, if you tried to get me to sign up for an open bracket Infinite tournament today where anyone could sign up, there's zero shot. But, like, if it was like a creator event or like an invite thing where it was a little more like casual, like, it'd still be fun to play in. But, like, I'm not trying to get my shit pushed in by someone who hasn't caught off Infinite since the game came out. But alrighty, well, why don't we talk about Remnant 2 and then we'll hop into Destiny after? Because I don't think PopQ would have played Remnant 2, so it's probably a perfect time because I know both of you have played it. So Remnant 2 came out last week. It's like a third-person shooter, Dark Souls, roguelike combination-y thing with puzzles and boss fights, and people are loving it. Everything I see, like, everyone is saying this game is amazing. I need to find some time to hop in and play it. I just unfortunately have not had a chance to play it yet, but it looks super fun. Like, I'm probably going to try and pick it up here the next week or so and start playing a little bit. So, whichever of you wants to go first, tell me about Remnant 2.
Well, I'll just go ahead and dive into it real quick. So Remnant 2, it's a roguelite. I like to compare it a little bit more to Outriders. I know a lot of people like to shit on Outriders. I really liked Outriders because I thought the gameplay in general was really good, but it plays a lot like that, but it's like, how do I put this? So you have like a class-based system that the first game didn't quite have, where you can choose what's known as an archetype. So let's just say the summoner archetype. You can summon in minions to fight alongside you, and they'll like bring health back to you as they do damage, and or they'll improve your defenses based on how many you have out. And then on top of like these archetypes and these different kind of styles of play you can do, you have 4 rings you can equip. You have an amulet you can equip, which all give you different like stats bonuses, or they just do really cool effects. And then you got the how would you put it? The relic system, which if you think of something like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, which you played a little bit, even though it wasn't for very long, I might add. But it's like, you use a relic and you heal, right? And it recovers health. But then there's different styles of relics. You'll have ones that give you shields. So maybe if you have a type of build, like I said in my review, where you're focused on defenses and regenerating health through damage, well, maybe you want to pop a shield on top of that. So, you just have like this extra defense on top of, all the bullshit you have going on as you're weighing lace to enemies. And then on top of the whole relic system, you have like these little relic shards you can equip as those that give you passives. And like the systems go so deep. And then there's a dual class system. So you have one archetype equipped, but then you can have a second archetype equipped and they both level up and give you all their passives and stuff. And it's just like the game is so unique in so many ways because it's not like you're just going into a world and playing through it and you're like, okay, I played through the world, I know what it's like. My second playthrough will be exactly the same. It's not like that. It's like you start at point A, everything between point A and point C is completely generated randomly, but like when you get to that point C experience from point A, it's like a handcrafted experience. So it's like this boss fight is set in stone in this spot, but everything in between that boss fight and the beginning is completely generated. It's like you got your missions, you have different bosses, you have unique little secrets like in the world Losum, you have like little clay dolls or whatever you can find that gives you a new archetype class. And they just have all these little secrets like weaved into the game, like walls you can walk through that you don't like hit them and they disappear. You just walk up to them and you'll walk right through them. Or you'll like look over the edge of the map and there'll be like some faraway ledge and you walk off the edge and you land on it. And it's like, oh, okay, there's a chest down here. Like they have so many little hidden things in the game that makes it just so unique and cool. And it's hard to describe the style of game Remnant 2 truly is because there is no other game that does what it does, how it does it. And for a studio at Gunfire Games with only like 82 devs on the team, what they're actually able to pull off with this, with just that amount of people, is unreal. And I don't think a lot of people realize how few devs that studio has for the quality of the game they have produced. It's like, it's just, I don't know. I know I'm rambling on here. I'm probably getting my thoughts all twisted, but it's a game I'm really excited about. I just think everyone should at least try it out. I'm not going to say it's a perfect game. All games have issues, obviously, but it's just a game that's just for how big the studio is and for what it does. There's no other game like it. And also all the upcoming expansions and DLC, I believe, have been announced to be free. So if you like the game, well, you got plenty of content coming.
The DLC free? I knew they confirmed they were doing DLC. I didn't realize it was free. That's crazy.
Yeah, so
yeah, I'll let
it's a good time.
I'll let you talk, J-Man, in a sec. But I just want to say, like, you were talking about Gunfire. I think it's super cool to see them like put out a game that's received this well, because like the first Remnant people liked, but it definitely didn't get this reception. And before that, they made like Darksiders 3, which was like by far the worst of all the Darksiders games. So like, I think it's really cool to see, like, obviously, like, it took them a little time to get going, but now that they have, like, they seem to clearly have found, something that works, and even like you said, they're not a huge studio, but they were able to put out, like, Remnant 2 looks amazing, and so they're able to put out something that looks amazing. It seems relatively bug-free. I mean, it's not perfect, as is any game, but...
Well... I was just going to say, one of the things about Remnant 1, one of its biggest issues is, like, it was really brutal playing solo.
Yeah.
You had some massively bullshit encounters that were just a struggle to get through. And if you played in a group, the game was really easy, where to me, Remnant 2 is the complete opposite. It's really easy solo, but as a group, the scaling is just really bad. Definitely when you get to the final boss, which is just... that thing is something else. Like, it's cool, but... I really do mean it when I said it before. But people who get to the final boss, I could see them never beating that boss ever. I could literally see that. Like, if you're not good at this kind of game, you're never gonna beat that boss. Period.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen.
That sounds like you, Arash, not beating the final boss like you did with Lightfall.
Yeah, we don't actually talk
Yeah.
about that, so
Yeah.
that actually
happened?
literally
you didn't
never
do
happened.
that.
Yeah, he gave up.
Yeah, J-Man. So I played every Destiny campaign. I buy the expansion, or every Destiny expansion. I buy the campaign, and usually I play through it. But Lightfall, I got to the last boss, and it was just so fucking annoying that after like dying on it for a few hours, I told myself I was gonna go back, and then I just never did. I just called it a day.
Were you playing on normal or legendary?
No, I was playing on legendary.
Yeah,
Should've
legendary
been
was,
a
he was
man,
pretty
Arash.
annoying. He was pretty annoying. But I wanted to chip in my 2 cents for Remnant 2
Yes,
as well.
for sure.
The first thing I wanted to say is if you're normally someone who doesn't get into third-person shooters, you should still give this one a try. I haven't played a third-person shooter really since like Gears of War, for example, because I just really prefer first-person. But Remnant 2 plays exceptional as someone who typically doesn't play those third-person games. So I just wanted to clarify that. And what I love about their concept is it really, in a sense, kind of feels like one of those dungeon crawlers. Like if you ever played The Binding of Isaac, or what's another good example of those? I can look at
Enter
Steam
the
real quick.
Gungeon.
Yeah, Gungeon. There's Hades as
Yeah.
well.
Risk
You know,
2,
Neon
I
Ob-
think, is a good example.
Oh yeah, Risk
Yeah.
2 is a good one.
Yeah, but this feels like the shooter version of that, where you want to continue kind of like going through the worlds, but each time you go through, like your build and your arsenal is a little bit better, you know, and you can take on like a higher difficulty, which to me is just really cool because I love that style of game where you can like the replayability is endless, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So I think there was 2 big third person roguelikes this year. You know, you got Remnant 2 and you got Crab Champions. So which
Yeah.
which
Shit, I
one's
forgot about
gonna take the crown at the end of the year? No,
Yeah.
Better be Remnant 2, Dennis.
I'm memeing, but obviously
I
like
know.
Crab Champions was made by one person. It's actually pretty good. But it's not up to the par of Remnant 2. But
I do want to add on to J-Man there about like the replayability with the difficulties. On higher difficulties, like the whatever top tier apocalypse and stuff, bosses have random like elements to them. Like imagine in Halo with the different skulls, they will randomly have different modifiers when you fight them. So like maybe more defense, they do more attack, maybe they move faster, stuff like that. So that's
I'm
pretty cool
definitely
for the
not
harder
ready for
difficulties.
that. Got a long ways to go till I'm ready for that. But yeah, it's been a really fun game, and I think everyone talks about the gunplay, the weapons, but
So
the
good.
melee system is really fun as well. Like I unlocked this staff where if you do a certain amount of damage, you could like slam it on the floor and it sends out this wave of energy, and if it kills enemies in its path, it returns health to me. So it's this whole like secondary source of damage and healing that I have in my back pocket, which makes the combat system really engaging.
yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. PopQ, I'm assuming you haven't played Remnant 2, right?
I didn't. I played the first one. I did enjoy.
Oh,
the
did you?
first
All
one.
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. I
Look
played
at
the first one.
that. All right.
I even streamed the first one.
Shit.
And yeah, it was fun. And I was planning on playing Remnant 2, but like with a lot of games, I never end up doing it. But yeah, I've been hearing like really good things about it. Like people are acting like this is the best shit they've ever played. But I haven't played it yet,
Hey, if you jump on Remnant 2, hit me up.
for sure.
We're ready. We got a team of 3
it-
here.
is it
Sorry.
still
Yeah,
three-
we got
is it
a
still
team of 3.
three-player?
Wow.
Is that what it is?
But
Yeah, it is three players
Oh,
still.
Yep.
Gotcha.
alrighty. Well, I think that kind of covers Remnant 2. It's a good game, honestly. You should play it. Is it full price? Is it $60?
And no, it's not. It's actually 50.
Oh, there you
50
go.
USD.
See? Yeah. There you go. That's
And
a budget
zero
buy.
microtransactions.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Like
a
all
huge
just
thing too.
gameplay.
Yeah, that's
Really?
huge.
Wow.
Which is like that's actually like crazy these days if you think about it. Which I don't know. It's cool to see like studios still doing it, trying that. I know it's published by like Gearbox, isn't it? Randomly.
Yeah.
So fuck Gearbox, but you know maybe they're better at publishing games than making them.
Making them.
But all right, let's talk Destiny 2. So we got a wide variety here of Destiny experience. I think we'll get some interesting conversations because I have played Destiny 2 very, very casually. Like I tune in every expansion. I usually play through the campaign. I usually try PvP. I raided once when the game came out in vanilla. And that's really about it for me. So we'll go around the table and then we'll dive into it. Jared, how would you describe your Destiny 2 experience these days, or just Destiny in general?
Well, let me put it this way. I downloaded Destiny 2 again because I wanted to just refresh my thought process on the game and how it runs for this podcast. I played one Crucible match and I uninstalled it. So
I
that's
love
about
it.
where we're sitting at right now. There's a lot to be desired as of I don't know. There's so much I want. Basically, what I always wanted from Destiny was like a competitive game mode where they took away the supers, we had set weapons, and just played on that fantastic, awesome gunplay and movement Destiny has. Because it's some of the best in the industry,
I feel
and it
that.
just feels like a waste. We can't just have that experience as just some competitive mode. Like, where's the Destiny HCS championship, type deal? Like I need that. I need to be in a giant stadium watching players play Destiny in this set rule set because I think it would be one of the coolest experiences if done right, obviously. But yeah, that's how I
I,
feel about Destiny right now.
I'm
Also, real quick here,
oh yeah.
I beat the campaign on Legendary Solo. Just saying.
All right.
The
Well, did
new
you have
expansion.
proper exotics? Because I was doing it with none. So
I don't know. I used to whatever the game
all
gave me that stupid
maybe
purple
it was
pulse
just a skill
rifle.
issue for me then. Honestly, fair enough. But no, I agree. I think one of my biggest wants for Destiny when they announced Destiny, my hope was like, holy shit, new Bungie PvP game. Like I was so fucking pumped talking about the first one. And then it came out and the gunplay and the gameplay feels amazing in Destiny. And then the PvP is just held back by the fact that it's basically an MMO and there's zero balance and there's 10,000 items. And like, if you want to play meta PvP in Destiny 2, you have to do all this other shit to get all the meta pieces. And it's like, bro, I just want to launch up the game and play PvP. Like, I'm not trying to fucking have to raid and do it. And I know you can get like any exotic from the exotic that it pulls when you're playing PvP and stuff. But like, if you're trying to efficiently farm items, there's more effective ways than that. But all right, we'll hold off on my rant there. Pop Q, how would you describe your Destiny experience?
Well, I agree a lot with what you're saying about the PvP, but I think a lot of Destiny players would disagree with us. Like they like all the chaotic stuff, the overpowered abilities and weapons and all that shit. I I hate it. I like simplicity. I like balance. And my favorite time in Destiny PvP between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 was launch Destiny 2 PvP. And Destiny players hated it because they wanted to feel like, powerful. I remember at that time it was really easy to kill supers. The abilities weren't, didn't deal that much damage. There was things Destiny players didn't like about it at that time. And I think I remember in like Bungie Vidocs, they'll talk about a lot about like making you feel powerful as a guardian. And like when I play Destiny, I don't want to feel powerful because you gave me some overpowered ability or weapon or anything like that. I want to feel powerful because I'm good at the game and I'm hitting nasty shots and making good plays and stuff like that. I don't want just some button I press and then I smash the ground and get 5 kills for free. I hate that shit. So there's a lot of things I dislike about the PvP in Destiny. I don't want to say PvP is an afterthought in Destiny, but you can tell their focus is primarily PvE. And there's a lot of good things about the PvE and Destiny in general, like you guys mentioned, the gunplay and the movement is, it's very satisfying. But for me, I didn't like the PvP in Destiny, and two, I just didn't like the grind of Destiny PvE, doing the same public events and strikes and other activities over and over and over and over again. Some people like that grind. That wasn't my thing. I was looking for more of a Halo experience, and I think that's fine. Like I think something a different world from Bungie, Destiny, that was more if it was more similar to Halo, I think that's fine, and I think that could have been really good. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of the PvP and the grind of PvE. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I have some thoughts on the like vanilla Destiny 2 because I actually played a lot of vanilla Destiny 2, and it was like after vanilla that I stopped playing. But before we dive into that stuff, J-Man, you're the Destiny expert around here, so you tell us what's it like these days? You've been playing probably since the start, I assume.
Yeah, I'm like a D1 beta veteran, like, jumped over from Halo to Destiny and never looked back. I mean, I played through like, Halo 4 and 5 and obviously Infinite, but Destiny's kind of always been my main jam. But yeah, I think there's two kind of points y'all are hitting. Like the first one is the sandbox itself and like abilities and whatnot, and then the second part is kind of the PvE grind. So with the sandbox, I think what is important for Destiny to feel as great as it is that it does need those abilities, but Bungie has yet to figure out a way to fine tune it, right? In Halo, there are those power moments that come from like securing the rockets or the shotgun or the drop wall or the active camo, and like these are things that you find in the Destiny sandbox, but Halo has found a way to control it because you don't spawn with it. So the
Hmm.
problem with Destiny is like if you look at a Titan wearing sight and ramparts, that's what the drop wall is, except the Titan has one generating every 20 seconds. So imagine almost every single time you go to shoot someone in Halo, they put a drop wall down. It would
Right.
be beyond frustrating, right? But what if the drop wall was never there? Now, some people would probably be like, "Oh, that's great," because they're like a Halo purist and all they want is battle rifles and not even grenades. But for other people, like if there was no rockets or sniper, they wouldn't like enjoy it because there wouldn't be as many big hero moments where you land the overkill. And Destiny, it's the same exact thing. Like there needs to be the loadouts, there needs to be the exotics and the builds, and there needs to be the abilities. But what you mentioned earlier is there's over 10,000 items in the sandbox, and Bungie has just never found the recipe to balance that, like ever. But I will say that next season there is a game mode coming out called Checkmate, or it's actually sorry, it's a game modifier, so it can be applied to any game mode, right? And what it does is it kind of puts overarching rules on the sandbox that says like these abilities can never generate faster than X time. And these really busted pulse rifles can't burst anyone down faster than this time, right? So it is actually like giving it more of a Halo theme, and I'm super excited to test it out, and maybe it'll be something you guys would be interested in as well.
Or
Now
sort of
the
like slightly like sort of like specifically PvP balanced stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
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 that's a
exactly.
good way to do it.
Yeah, and it's something that myself and many others have been preaching for a long time because, like, we're just in a never-ending cycle of nerfs, right? Like, they nerf one thing, and the next thing lines up and is twice as powerful. And it's been going on for years. So a lot of us have been saying, like, look, like, there needs to be a rule set that says it can never get beyond this busted, no matter how insane this new weapon or exotic is, right? Like it needs to have a threshold in the Crucible somehow. So we'll see how that turns out. The one thing I'm gonna push y'all back on for a little bit is the like doing some of the PvE stuff to get like the gear going for the Crucible. And I think what ends up happening is because it takes a while and sometimes people don't have like really experienced friends who can take them through everything. It takes a while to get to the actual fun content that is really engaging and really challenging and rewarding, right? So like Arash, you said you've only raided once, but I guarantee you if I showed you some of the raids and you got your first like really good hand cannon to drop that's going to be like a beast in PvP, you might start to feel a little hooked on that. And I personally find the whole build crafting side and PvE like it's definitely not the best it's ever been, but I also find it essential to complete the gameplay loop. And just like in Halo, when a lot of people really loved the campaigns and the skulls and grinding everything on legendary and all that, you know, a lot of people feel the same with Destiny, and they really like their challenging PvE, like Grandmaster Nightfalls and all these nerdy things that get you these crazy weapons that can be used anywhere. So I know some of the lower level content could be a mindless grind and can get really boring, but I would almost want to challenge you to take on some of like the master or grandmaster level content where you get yourself a really shiny toy and see if you can like catch the addiction a little bit.
I totally get what you're saying, but I think that's why there's like the disconnect for me with Destiny 2. There's always Destiny in general. It's just like I can only do PvE shit for so much. And like I'm sure when you like really get into it, like it's super cool, but I just like I don't know. I mean the time that I did like the original Destiny 2 raid, like the vanilla one whenever it came out, and it was pretty fun, but at the same time like I didn't have a proper group, so we just died a fuck ton. So like that's like another thing is you actually need like good groups, I feel like, for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean I totally get what you're saying, and it I feel like a lot of Destiny 2's PvP struggles aren't unique to Destiny 2. I feel like Destiny 2
there's busted stuff in Titan or in Apex Legends, right? Like all the time, like
yeah, but I would say Destiny's PvP struggles are more similar to like when we used to have the era of 9,000 MMOs that came out every year. And like when you look at WoW PvP is busted as fuck. But like at this point, people have just kind of like accepted it. Like you kind of know what you're getting into with MMO PvP. But I think there's like, since Destiny's a little bit easier to get into, it's not like a huge grind like a proper MMO is, and it's a first person shooter, so you can just run around and shoot someone with like whatever random gun that you unlocked is, right? And you will get some kills. There's like a disconnect there in PvP where it's like, what if this was like way more balanced or something? And it's like, unfortunately, I mean, I think the mode that you're explaining does sound pretty good, but like I think unfortunately there's just, when you have the PvP of a game like this that's directly tied to the overarching, Destiny's basically an MMO. Like if you tie it to an MMO,
looter shooter, 100%.
Yeah, there's always going to be broken shit. There's always going to be people that build craft stuff that is like insane until it gets nerfed or it gets rule setted out, right? And so like I really don't know if there's ever a world where Destiny 2 went that different in terms of like the PvP. Now, could Bungie have probably put a lot more effort into the PvP side? Probably. But at the same time, like I have seen like the stats that show a lot of people actually play PvP, but I don't know. I'll let someone else give their opinions there.
Well, to what you said, J-Man, about like the end game content being like the better content of the game, I totally agree with that. Raids in Destiny are incredible. Like that is a one of a kind experience playing a Destiny raid. I absolutely love that. But there is, like we talked about, there is a lot of grinding of those other activities. I remember the last time I played a lot of Destiny was Forsaken for Destiny 2, that DLC.
Yeah.
And
the golden days.
I played through the campaign, did a lot of the content for the first time, and then what happened is I started to get into this cycle where I don't know, I was going to the Dreaming City every day, getting my bounties, getting my prime engrams or whatever they're called, and I was doing like the same activities every day, and that's where I fall off. That's where I fall off with a lot of DLCs. A lot of people don't like that grind, but some Destiny players do like that grind. And you talk about like you mentioned like getting a shiny new toy, like a really good weapon, and then maybe it feels like all your hard work is paid off. I mean, for me, it's like there's a level of RNG to that though. And when I take that shiny new toy into PvP and I'm racking up kills, that personally that doesn't make me feel good because I know that like I have this weapon that other people might not because of some level of RNG that's involved there. I do like more of a simple, balanced type of PvP. And to what you said about, you compared some of the abilities in Destiny to like power weapons or power ups in Halo, and you mentioned how in Destiny you start with these abilities. But what about things like like supers in Destiny? Because there's a lot of there's a lot of supers being popped in a game of PvP, and I mean I feel like those especially is just like free kills. Like when you're playing and somebody pops a super and you don't have a super to counter, a lot of the time your only option is to run away from it.
Hmm.
Like Gold Gun or like the Titan Smash and stuff like that. I just think that stuff is just way too overpowered personally.
Yeah, no, I definitely think supers are way overpowered too, and the amount that they scaled over the years is ridiculous. Like the Titan Smash in Destiny 1, it was like a one smash, and
Oh
that
yeah.
was it. You were done. And in Destiny 2, it's you pop it and you're like a roaming super and you can run around for like 30 seconds
Hmm.
just smashing everyone to death, right? It's the sandbox has gotten out of control.
Yeah.
Um,
And some people love that. They love that. They're running around, they're pressing a button, getting a bunch of kills. I
yeah,
I
which
don't
it should
like.
be
I
like
I want to rack
mayhem,
up kills because I'm good at the game, not because you gave me some easy
Well,
to use ability.
I always thought it
Uh,
would have been great if that when you go into a PvP match, you have your supers from the start, but you only get to use it one time during the match.
Yeah,
So you
people
have
have
to
said that.
decide. Yeah, so you have to really decide when you want to use the super. It matters a lot more. It's not just, okay, I can pop this and then a few minutes later I'll pop it again. I can, okay, when will be the best time for me to use my super for my team? Do I use it to counter another super so we kind of equal out? Like, when's the best time to do this? Obviously, this would probably depend on game mode too, on what game modes would work best for that type of rule set. But I always thought that would be an interesting approach to it, and
Yeah.
I can see why other people would want that too.
Let me ask y'all something though. Have you played since they've changed the supers into like tiers that regenerate at different times?
I
um,
played whenever Lightfall came out, and I played like a little bit of
Same.
PvP. So you'd have to tell me
Yeah.
when they changed that.
Forsaken was like my
Yes.
last
Well,
one.
so you definitely played in it then. Like you might not have noticed it if like you don't play religiously like
Yeah.
myself. But back in the day, you would see a shit ton of Spectral Blades, right? And Striker Titan and Hammer Titans. Basically, the roaming supers that you're referring to that would be killing machines for free, right? And way too often. Those supers now take an extremely long time to regenerate. And the more defensive supers like Well of Radiance and Bubble and even like some of the shutdown ones like what's a good example, Nova Bomb, those regenerate quicker. And
Mm.
it's created this really weird shift in the Crucible where everyone basically is choosing the subclasses that regen the supers the fastest, and all those subclasses that have like the really long charging roaming ones like don't even get used anymore. So
You,
it's kind of like really strange. And now, in my opinion, you should find the right balance of offensive and defensive supers that kind of like come around the same time so that they can, in a sense, cancel each other out and not have them be free killing machines. So
Right.
that's kind of how I see it right now.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, I guess I didn't really notice that too much, but I also probably didn't play around with the different subclasses enough to really notice the difference because
Yeah.
I just kind of played whatever I was playing at the time. I think
you know, actually, now that I think about it, the one match I played today, I got my super. I think one time towards the end of the match as a what you call it, Solar Titan. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
It takes a
oh,
long time to
that
get.
took a long time.
You can get it like
Yeah,
once in quick play, and you will most likely never get it in trials. So the trials meta is really strange because it's heavily built around well and bubble and being very defensive, and it kind of stinks. But That's just
The
where we're at, you know?
the super recharge times, is that the same across PvE and PvP?
It's the same across both, yeah. However, because I believe you get more super regen from orbs in PvE, it kind of like levels it out there.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but in PvP, it's a little bit more spread out.
So is this modifier that you were talking about earlier? Is this kind of like the first time they're ever balancing PvP separately from PvE?
Th- I mean, you know, there are some tunings as of today that they pull that are different. You know, like one of the things, for example, they'll do is if a exotic really enhances something like your class ability, like way too strong, they'll greatly reduce the cooldown in PvP only, right? So they have some levers that they can tune back and forth. But I will say that this modifier is by far the most like drastic separation of the PvP sandbox from PvE. Because back in the day, they used to be stubborn about that, right?
Mhm.
Like they wanted Destiny to feel like Destiny no matter where you're playing. And I think like after years of leaving feedback, I feel like we're finally getting them to like tug away from that thought and give us a better sandbox to play in permanently, you know?
All right. Oh, took them long enough.
Yeah.
So, so obviously you've been playing Destiny 2 forever. Do you feel like the sentiment in the community is like I see it from the outside looking in, but it's very like doom and gloom, especially like the PvP players. Do you
Mhm.
kind of share that sentiment, or does this just feel like it's kind of a rough patch that'll maybe bounce back in a future update?
Yeah, I mean Destiny's always been a roller coaster, and there's a meme in the community that like all these new games coming out are like the Destiny killer, you know, the game that's finally going to get everyone off Destiny. There's another meme that I can't think of, but I'll come back to it. But as an old timer, right? I've already kind of experienced this with the transition of Bungie dropping Halo and moving to Destiny, right? Like Halo Reach in many ways felt different from Halo and a test for Destiny. And where I think Bungie's at right now is they're kind of using Destiny to test a whole bunch of different things for Marathon and their other IPs. And that's kind of just where we're at, right? Like the game hasn't innovated for quite some time. The seasonal model, like we mentioned, is so boring, you know. PvP is in shambles. So I think it's very easy to be harsh on the game right now and to be disappointed in where it's at. But, you know, the way that I see it is maybe this is just Bungie repositioning themselves as a multi IP studio. You know, they've always been the one working on the one game, and now they're really trying to be ambitious, and in order for them to do that, we're going to have to sacrifice the 6th year of Destiny and maybe some of the 7th year of Destiny until they get on their feet and like figure out how to like position the studio for the future.
You know, I just thought of something. Something I forgot to mention. I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but the the Destiny content vault, where they vaulted a bunch of content, that is something that still just drives me insane. Anytime I think about going back and playing Destiny, I I can't let that go. That they took so
Hmm.
much content out of the game. A game like Destiny, where you are doing the same activities over and over and over and over again, a game like that thrives when you have a lot of content. And the fact that they took so much away, that still bothers me to this day. I really feel like they need to
Yeah.
add it all back. I know
The,
they
the
announced
what hurts the
they're no
most is the
longer vaulting
raids.
it. Yeah, and the raids,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
The
they took
rate,
raids
like,
away,
how do
entire
you take the
planets.
rate? And that's stuff we paid for, you
Yeah,
know,
some
like
of the
that's
stuff you
the part
pay
that
for.
irks me the
It's
most.
crazy.
Like, you know, like, hey, listen, like, yes, I paid for Destiny 1 and like I never played anymore. So
Hmm.
like I understand like the concept of like, oh, but like no one plays it. But when you think of like a raid at least and something that you actually did pay like $40 for or something that you don't have access to anymore, like that part kind of sucks, you know?
Right. I mean, yeah,
No,
that's crazy.
I understand like the technical aspect of why it had to be done, but it is insane because if you look at any other MMO, like sure you out level them, but they still exist. Like you can go back and run through an old raid by yourself if you want, or as you're leveling, you could play that raid at that specific level or like around it if you find a group of friends. But yeah, in Destiny, it's just gone. And
Yeah.
it's just all yeeted. And yeah, I mean obviously the engine had a lot to do with that and everything like that, but it's definitely an interesting strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've been playing the Bungie game for quite some time. Are you excited for Marathon? Do you think it's going to be good?
I think it's going to be completely different from what everyone expects. I think a lot of people are thinking it's just going to be the Bungie version of Tarkov, where all we're doing is landing, looting, and extracting. I think they're going to redefine this growing genre into something that's way bigger than what everyone like currently thinks of it today. So I'm excited, and I hope they bring us like the true Bungie roots and chill out with the microtransactions and dabbling in the pay to win space, and give us just some great gameplay and a game that we want to put our money into because it's fun and engaging and rewarding. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but I mean, say what you want about Destiny, like the state of it today. I mean, Bungie does have a track record of kind of like revolutionizing and exploding different genres. Like they literally brought the arena shooter to a console and made it a massive franchise. They weren't the first looter shooter, but they were the first one to really explode to that degree. I mean, before that, like I feel like Borderlands was the big one, but Borderlands wasn't even like truly online in the same way Destiny was. It was more of just like a co-op game, right? And Destiny came out and it was like a whole new thing. I mean, the term's always been like MMO light, where it like kind of was the big difference that doesn't make it MMO is you don't have these giant parties in a spot. You're playing like parties of 4 or
like
whatever,
6 max,
for raids,
But it's first person shooter, which is like the new thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not like an over the top like RPG type game.
For sure, it's a lot more like
well,
immersive, I guess, when you're playing. Or I don't know if that's the right term, but what were we gonna say, Jared?
I was just saying the thing about Marathon 2, it's going to be so different just because of the concept of that world of Marathon, the weapons, the creatures, just how everything's designed. They could kind of make their own rules, right? There's no logic they have to follow. It kind of reminds me of Remnant 2 a little bit. The different worlds, because you're going to these different worlds through a labyrinth, you could just kind of make up the rule set of these different worlds. And Bungie can do that with the Marathon, whatever they do, Tarkov style game. They could just be like, this zone is anti-gravity, right? And then you got crazy creatures flying around. Like they could just play with a lot of cool concepts that can make matches incredibly interesting in that style of world and game. So I can't wait to see what they do. I agree. I think they're going to do something revolutionary with it. And hopefully microtransactions don't follow, because when I turned on Destiny 2 today, I love that the first thing I saw was a nice little screen. Hey, Season of the Deep or whatever, you want to buy something?
Yeah, I think we'll probably see microtransactions, but I'm hoping it's like very minimal, like just give us that good Bungie gameplay. Like I will pay for that, like that's all I need.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. It is I feel like as much as it sucks, microtransactions are just here and they're probably here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't know. I don't really know if those are going to go anywhere, but it would be nice if it was like a little less egregious, because I feel like Destiny gets a little crazy with it, and they kind of always have, even when it dropped originally. Maybe not Destiny 1, but like when Destiny 2 did, I feel like even from the start it was pretty iffy. But yeah, All right. Well, any final thoughts on the current state of Destiny? Anyone?
Just tough it out, you know. It's like I mentioned, it's a roller coaster, and sure, we might be at the bottom of the swing now, but time and time again, we get back to the top. So a little bit of patience. Great. Go, like we've been saying, like Remnant 2 is great. Go play some other games, you know. Enjoy something else.
That's fair.
we-
All right. Well, we can. Are you gonna say something,
I was
Mr.
going to ask
Popq?
one more thing. Do we know anything about the future of Destiny 2 after the final shape? Have they said anything about that?
They have not, but we're hoping that we hear some news on that August 22nd for their Final Shape showcase. So we'll
Okay.
see if they have anything to say about after the fact as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, I figure we could hit some new topics, and then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. Right now, we only have one question, so if you want to submit a question, go respond to the tweet, and we will do it at the end. So, I figure first thing we talk about is I believe it's rumored, but Back for Blood is getting a sequel. So, who here cares about a Back for Blood sequel?
No, I don't. Give me Left 4 Dead 3, please, Valve. Just give me it. Just some kind of hope. Give me any game with a number 3, and I will be happy.
Dude,
No one cares about Back 4 Blood 2. Definitely not the guy obsessed with the card system. Screw
oh my
him.
god, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I will say, so I actually didn't hate Back for Blood. I actually thought it was an okay game, but that's the problem. It was an okay game. And like it came out and it was a fun little co-op thing, and it kind of got boring toward the end, and I feel like it kind of missed the charm of Left 4 Dead. And then on top of that, it had that annoying deck building thing that I just didn't want to deal with when I was playing Left 4 Dead. And so eventually I kind of fell off it. And then like the first expansion came out, and so I came back. But then I was like, huh, that's weird. In the first expansion, it didn't even add a new act. It just added these little like fucking things you would go into, and it would like transport you to a different spot. I forget what they were called, but it was like a pretty lackluster act. And then they eventually did a couple other DLCs, and then Turtle Rock said they were done working on the game and they moved on. So I don't know. I mean, Back 4 Blood 2 could be cool, but I feel like most likely it'll be kind of more of the same. I know Turtle Rock, obviously, like the original Turtle Rock made great games. They made Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. But if we're going to be honest, like recent Turtle Rock, I mean, they made this and Evolve, so they're not doing too hot these days. But BHB, do you play? Oh, no, you go, Jared.
I was just gonna say, that's the problem with Back 4 Blood compared to Left 4 Dead, though, right? Left 4 Dead was just so easy to just hop on and play. Invite a couple friends, you just go into a thing and you just have fun, and you just run your way through zombies. Where with Back 4 Blood, it's like if I don't mess with the card system, then it's gonna be, I won't really say it's a struggle, but you just suck compared to everyone else. Like it's like that extra step in that style of game that you just don't really care for. Like the whole card system. If it was me developing the game, I would have put the card system into the actual levels. Like you're running through the level, you kill 10 zombies, you get a random card dropped for you or something like that. Instead of you having to like make your way through this system in a menu, they just bring that system into the game as you play. So it's just like a seamless experience that doesn't distract you from what you're there to do, which is just to kill zombies. So
Sort of like a
that's
mini,
kind of how I always felt about it.
like a mini roguelike that would like increase your
Yeah,
perks as you.
yeah.
I think that would have been a fun way to do it. But yeah, I hated how you had to like build your deck ahead of time, and like yeah, like you said, you could just not fuck with it, but then your character was just worse. Like not like a little bit worse, you were just clearly a worse version of the other people. And so you had to like build your deck properly, and you had to unlock all the cards, and it's like I don't mind perks in a game like that. I feel like perks do add to it, but I feel like they could have done perks in a more like streamlined and like straightforward way, even if you still had to unlock them. But just like instead of like you would load into like your run or whatever, and you'd like draw your card. And I don't know. I was never a big fan of it. But do either of you guys play Back 4 Blood?
I have no.
Not for me. I played a little bit of Left 4 Dead 2. I
Played a
never
little
tried Back
bit.
4 Blood. A little bit, yeah.
A
Not
little
too
bit?
much.
Oh my,
Yeah,
dude,
just a
man.
little
Yeah,
bit.
that
Oh
was back in
my.
the glory days of Halo. Right? We were playing Halo.
All right, fair enough. But
Maybe I should go back.
I
You
mean,
can play Halo and Left 4 Dead 2 now.
these days it's a little aged, but it's still pretty fun to play with friends. Plus, they have like cool mods. I will say, actually, another thing that sucked about Back 4 Blood is the multiplayer mode in Back 4 Blood is dog shit. Like,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Holy
exactly,
shit.
exactly. You did forget about it because it's fucking
That
bad.
stupid medical tent map with all the bodies sucked so much.
It was such
God,
a
that was
boring
terrible.
ass multiplayer. I played it like once for a video. I was like, I don't think I'm ever playing this again. So that was definitely a miss, especially compared to like Left 4 Dead 2, which had like the super cool like multiplayer campaign thing where you'd like play all the different zombies and shit. Whereas in Back 4 Blood, the multiplayer mode just reminded me of Evolve, but shittier. So like, I feel like they rehashed some designs there, where it's basically like an asymmetrical mode where you had like the pumped up zombies, and you'd come in and you try and kill the people, and it was just kind of like, all right. The maps were all pretty small. You'd kind of just like hide in a room and shoot them when they bust through the door. It was kind of mid. But alrighty. Let's see. What can we talk about here? Can we talk about some old Call of Duty? Has anyone been hopping back on the old nostalgia train? This feels right down your alley, Pop Q.
Well, I haven't because I just don't play video games anymore. So yeah, there's that. But no, I've seen that everybody's playing the old CODs again. I don't know how I hear there's still cheaters though. Like I hear that's still a problem. And I mean, cheating is actually, cheaters. That is a big reason. Like I don't want to play PvP games as of late because cheaters run rampant in so many games now, and it's just I don't want to deal with it. But no, I haven't checked any of them out, and I kind of feel like some of these games, they have their PC clients like Plutonium or IW4X, and you have more options like FOV sliders and higher frame rates. You can play the game at higher frame rates and stuff like that on there. So I feel like I would rather just play it on there if I was going to play some of these old CODs.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think like the client versions are very cool. My biggest issue with those is just the fact that like Plutonium is like if you play like Black Ops 2, I feel like you can usually find lobbies, but kind of hit or miss depending on time of day and what game you're playing. And these days, while I'm pretty sure that IW4X still exists out there in the abyss, it's probably a bit harder to find since Activision came down on them.
I forgot about that.
I'm pretty sure it's still up, but like I think it's an El Dorito situation.
Still up for certain games.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like those clients are cool. I love what they do, but sometimes it's nice to just like hop into matchmaking and just play like a game, right? Like it's more straightforward.
Sure. I prefer matchmaking over server browser anyway.
Yeah,
but it's just like all the advantages and improvements to the game on the PC client. I think I'd probably rather play on there.
Yeah, and like you said with cheaters, I mean, that's just the problem with anything that's still on a 360. Like, it's too easy, and too many people have modded 360s. There's nothing you can do. You're not going to go redevelop anti-cheat for fucking MW2, right? Or, like, Black Ops 1. So you're just kind of like, you can bring more people back to the game to kind of drown out the cheaters, but I think at the end of the same thing is going to end up happening. Like, they're going to kind of dwindle off as people get tired of getting like fly hacked and like 10th prestige off of shooting one bullet. So
yeah.
Is it like every match or like
no?
Is it that crazy or?
It's your experience is probably going to depend, but my understanding is no, and it also depends like just luck. Sometimes you'll get into good lobbies and you'll have a bunch of good lobbies, and sometimes you won't. So, Jared, have you fucked with the old CODs on your internet?
I have not even touched them. I might touch them over the next few weeks since I have a little free time for once, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. If I go back and play the old CODs, I'll just remember how good Call of Duty used to be, and then I'll hate the new ones even more than I already do. So I don't know. I mean, I do kind of want to jump on Black Ops 2. I mean, it's got more population than Halo Infinite, so I mean, must be a good game or something. Who knows?
must be a good game. All right. Well, actually, I forgot we skipped a whole section of the show. So usually, J-Man, we kind of jump straight into Destiny, and we hopped around to Remnant, and I got kind of confused. Usually we do a little section about what we've been playing. Obviously, you two have been playing Remnant. But is there anything, I mean, you can talk about anything here. Is there anything else you've been playing lately?
Yeah, there's two actually. So every now and then I randomly get into like the zone where I want to play like a 2D side scroller.
Sure.
So one of them I was playing was Neon Abyss, which was pretty good. Which is actually like a dungeon crawler that we were kind of referencing earlier that revolves around guns. And the other one that I've been playing is Dead Cells. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of Dead Cells.
Dead Cells is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's been a really challenging blast. So, and then of course I'm always at some point diving into Destiny, Halo. Obviously, we talked about Remnant. I had randomly downloaded Fallout 76 because it was on sale for $5.
What
Hell
are you
yeah.
doing?
No,
You-
it's a great game.
No, it's not.
Well, I heard it got a lot better,
It's a lot better.
and I had no idea if that was true or not. And like I said, it was $5, and I had nothing to do that day. It was raining outside. I said screw it, because I love Fallout,
I mean, it
But
can't get much
that's pretty
worse
much
than
it.
it launched. So yeah, I'm sure it did get better. But no, I will say, I mean, props to Fallout 76. It still gets updates, so they're gonna have that big fucking season.
It's such a shame though. You missed the best part of Fallout 76, which is the
Did I?
battle royale, and being able to build porta potties everywhere and hide in them. Best
Yeah.
experience ever.
that sounds like something. All right, Jared, besides Remnant, you been playing anything?
No, not really. I've just been pretty much being worthless. Grinding Remnant 2, hating life, trying to get ready for the upcoming big games coming our way. So, it's pretty much what I've been doing.
I feel that. All right, Pop Q, I'm just gonna take the assumption you have not been playing anything.
No, I haven't.
All right, it's tried and true. All right,
Like not at all.
Jamin, you've been playing Infinite. What's Infinite like these days? All right, we talked about the state of Destiny. Let's talk about what as someone who's a little bit less jaded. You tell me the state of Halo Infinite, and I'll zip my mouth.
For sure. I think Halo is great with the exception of like the stability of the game. Like they gotta fix like, what everyone buckets into like desync. And in my opinion, I wish there was a little bit more reason to play the game other than leveling up the battle pass and playing for the fun of it, And I think a lot of folks are spoiled these days by other games like Destiny, where as you're playing, you're unlocking all like these cool things, and in Call of Duty, you're unlocking all like these weapons and attachments, and I don't know the best way to get tangible rewards going from gameplay in Halo, but for me, that's what I'm missing because with the core system, I don't feel like I have any type of player journey or feel that I am building upon myself. I feel like I'm just like playing for fun, which is fine, and just grinding the levels in the battle pass. And who the hell cares about the career ranks because those are meaningless anyway, But the gameplay itself, I think, is fantastic.
That's fair. You mean the progression system to reach the rank hero hasn't inspired you to grind endless hours?
Hell no. I don't know how Spiteful and the other guy who apparently was a team of people. I don't know if that's true or not.
CHL Shade,
Well, I don't know.
let's go.
Yeah. I don't know if that's even true or not, but that's what I just see everyone yelling about.
I mean,
but I don't know how they grinded so much is what I was getting at to Hero.
Yeah, the Shade had I mean, can't confirm it, but there was like multiple stints of like 72-hour play sessions. Maybe he's built diff, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But Jamin, you've been playing some Squad Battle. Tell me about Squad Battle.
Squad Battle's great. It's funny because one, I love the surprise of it dropping, right? Because I had no plans of playing Halo that week because I've been taking a little break from ranked, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, do you guys want to play some Halo 3 maps?" And I'm playing on it. It's freaking fantastic. And I was thinking, like, man, if they added like some Halo 2 maps to this or like other maps, that'd be amazing. And the next day, boom, they put in Waterworks and the Halo 4 one. So I think it's awesome. I think it's cool, but I also think it proves that Halo fans are still, in a sense, like preferring old Halo to new Halo, right? Like 343 needs to do something where they drop something like that, where everyone is excited for it because it's new and it's great. And it kind of also stinks that where people are getting excited the most is when they drop some Halo 3 maps, right? Like it kind of goes to
Right.
show like how Halo is gone.
Yeah.
Well,
People
that's
love
the-
people. Sorry, real quick. People love those classic playlists in in
Yeah.
343's games. How about
Yes.
they do a classic game? That's crazy, right?
right?
Whoever thought of that? That couldn't work. No,
Like,
there's no
like,
way that could work.
No, you're right.
That's
It's
crazy.
so stupid. I see the same people on Twitter every day bitching about people wanting classic Halo, but the second there's a classic Halo playlist, they love that shit. Man, this is the best game ever. This is what we've been missing from this game. I'm ready to get back on Halo and
Yeah.
play. And then 5 minutes later, old Halos need to die in some ditch.
Yeah,
It's
Halo
like,
needs
come
to
on now, which one is it? Did you want old Halo? Do you want new Halo? Like, oh god, just make up your mind.
I will say, like that Halo.api account sometimes puts out the stats of like what the most played playlist is, and ever since Squad Battle came out, it's either been one or two, and
Yep.
I think that says a lot about the map design of Halo Infinite, like.
Yeah.
Because these are forged remakes of old maps, and at one point the playlist had 3 fucking maps, and it was still, now granted it's a little fresh, it's a little new, but how fresh is playing fucking Valhalla? Like, come on, we played a lot of
Yeah.
Valhalla, so it's not really that fresh. So like I think it says a lot that Halo Infinite's map pool is just not good, especially on the BTB side, where when you just recreate these old classics, like people love it. Like you get Exile in there, and you get, which is Waterworks, right, from H2, and you get these maps that people really liked back in the day for BTB, and you bring them back and people love them. And it's like you 343, you could have done this instead of doing it in Forge. You could have done this at launch instead of me playing Fragmentation. I could have just been playing Valhalla. And what I also think is the most sad about Squad Battle is the fact that like they put in all, I mean they didn't put in that much work, I'm gonna shoot straight, but like all this hype about like new BTB 2.0 12 versus 12, and then like a year into the game the most popular version of BTB is just 8v8.
It's the old one, yeah.
It's like,
Well, I think the 12v12 gets a little chaotic sometimes, you know.
well, and
Yep.
the 12v12 has the problems because it doesn't have proper spawns. Shit falls out of the sky. The vehicles come in on
Vehicles.
Pelicans, and like the old classic maps when you played in Squad Battle, they have weapons on the map. They have vehicles that spawn
Yep.
on the map. It works like BTB has always worked, and it's like I don't know why we tried to redo Big Team Battle. We knew how Big Team Battle worked. It was great. If you want to try something new, come out with a new fucking mode. That's what Warzone was. It was
Yeah.
really good. Why did you try and rehash BTB with a bunch of things that really most people didn't like? When we played the flights and we played BTB, everyone criticized the random weapon drops and the vehicle drops because they were just they introduced RNG, and they also introduced one-sided matches where you would just sometimes you'd get like a fucking mongoose and the other team would get a tank, and you're like,
Yeah.
sick,
Hey.
real fun.
No, I remember that my Pelican would drop off a mongoose or like a ghost. I'd take it to the other side of Fragmentation where they're sitting with a tank or a wraith. Like, what the hell?
Hey, I feel you on that. What was it? I'm trying to. Yeah, it was fragmentation. No, it wasn't fragmentation. It was high power. 5 wasps on our team. We had 5 wasps. That is a dreadful experience for anyone. And it's just crazy thinking that the most popular game mode and map combination is Valhalla 8v8, the same thing we played like 17, 18 years ago in 2006. on a beta version of Halo 3 from buying a Crackdown
Shit,
disc.
you're right. I forgot that was in the beta.
like,
Holy shit, we've been
so
playing
that-
it even
that's-
longer.
Yeah. So that's still the most popular combinations. It's
Yeah. No, and
Arcade. You're
I
gone.
think I think what makes me most so like let me first preface. I love that they're willing to put these playlists into the game. I think that's a great step. Probably a little late. Like some of this stuff would have been really cool a long time ago. Like I still think some of my favorite H5 playlists were the throwback playlists. Like when they did the H3 throwback playlist and like when they did the CE playlist, even though the CE playlist in H5 was weird because it still had H5 movement, but like that's okay. And it also had the CE pistol from Warzone. So it was a funky experience, but like they're like fun like throwbacks and they're like something different to play and like this stuff like CHL in Infinite. I would love to see that as a playlist. Test it out. Throw it in for 2 weeks. If it's dead, well, then don't put it back in the game. And most likely, I'm going to be honest, I think it does pretty well. I think it outperforms most social playlists if it's a social list. And if for some reason you made it a ranked playlist, I don't know if it overtakes Arena, but it's definitely going to be more popular than like Free For All was, right? And so like I feel like there's a lot of playlist stuff that they could test. But also like what annoys me the most about all this stuff is when they remake these maps and they do these throwbacks and everyone loves them. Everyone praises the shit out of Squad Battle. But then like BHB was saying, then people turn around and try and pretend that no one would play a classic Halo game. And it's like the people playing Halo today clearly want it. Like, and no one outside of playing Halo today is playing Halo anyways. So like, sure, some random ass kid playing Apex probably won't play a Halo like a classic Halo, but he isn't playing Infinite. So what's the fucking point? So I don't. Halo just frustrates me.
Hey, through that whole rant, going back to the playlist real quick, you actually that's such a good idea. How cool would it be when community members are hosting events or tournaments or whatever, and 343 would have a playlist featured the game types and game modes or whatever in that event. They would just run it for a few weeks. Your community event would go on, and then it'd be gone. And then whenever someone else held a tournament, they rotated in playlists to represent that tournament to try to support the community. Like, I think that would be a really cool idea.
Yeah, no, that would be sick. I think it would take a little bit more hands-on approach and a little more cooperation than I think 343 has with a lot of grassroots tournaments, but it definitely would be cool. And I think it would also give people like more encouragement to make some new stuff and like, hey, we're going to do a tournament based around these settings. And like, if you're going to run it directly as a playlist, like it can't be like maps from Call of Duty or something. Like it does have to, it does have to be stuff that's not copyrighted, but you still could do some pretty fun stuff with it. There's a lot of room to try cool things. But what do we feel about season 5? When? I don't even know. I read somewhere earlier, I think it's supposed to come out in October. I don't know if they were lying to me, but what do we feel season 5 is going to do for good old Halo Infinite? Do you guys still think this game has long legs, or are we approaching the end?
I don't think we're approaching the end. I don't think that season 5 is going to give the game a 180. I don't think we're actually going to enjoy season 5 because I think it's going to be more for your PvE players, because the rumor is that we're getting Firefight and it's got integration with Forge, and you can make like an infinite amount of PvE experiences. And I think for a lot of people that's cool. I think for me it's kind of cool, but I really play Halo for the multiplayer, so it'll be all right. I think in my opinion, the only thing that can truly save Halo is some type of innovation that is unreal and gets like the whole industry booming, and basically Ninja starts streaming Halo, right? Like that's what 343 needs. And I'm not a developer or a designer, so I don't know what that is, but I hope they figure it out.
I think Infinite, unfortunately, in that regards is chalked, but like the game still like can do its own thing. It can still like It still has a player base. I mean, we saw
Yeah.
the Halo.api account say the other day it was at like 20,000 players, which like for a franchise that was once literally like a cultural icon, that sucks. But for like a live service game, I mean, I think that's enough to fund a video game, like especially with how monetized Infinite is. So it's not like, I don't think the game is like in such dire straits it needs to be shut down like so many live service games are. Like, this isn't Hyperscape from Ubisoft, okay? We're not struggling to find a lobby of enough people to play a battle royale. Like, there are people playing Infinite. They're maybe a bit spread out throughout all the different playlists, so sometimes playlists can feel a little dead. If you're outside of America, like maybe, you know, your ranked playlists aren't going to be as populated, obviously, but like, that's a problem a lot of games have. Really, the only games that have like populated, fair, ranked systems are like the biggest games, like your Valorants and your League of Legends.
Yeah.
And like a lot of games, once your player base isn't ginormous, ranked is the first thing that struggles because your matches end up really uneven. You end up playing high ping matches, or you can't find matches if you're in certain regions. And so like, this isn't like a unique issue to Infinite.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where I was going with that anymore. But yeah, Jared, what do you think about the future of good old Halo Infinite?
I'm gonna put my stake down at the end of 2025. Or not the end of 2025, 2024. Sorry, I was getting way ahead of myself. I think the end of 2024 will be the end of Halo Infinite, and then we're off to whatever Halo game comes next. And hopefully, whatever that is, I hope it's a classic game. I'm gonna be honest. I hope it just and I hope it launches with everything at the start. You know, a campaign, custom games, firefight, forge. You know. Maybe the game would do better if it has all the features at launch. You know, everyone keeps saying Halo's dead, but we never get a Halo game that's complete at launch. Like, I just want to see what happens.
We had Halo 4,
when
Jared.
Halo. No.
That had its
no,
own
I'm done.
problem.
But I
It
will
was
say
finished.
this though. People can hate.
It was finished.
Halo
was
4 is a
finished.
better game than Halo Reach.
Wait, what happened?
Halo 4
There's
is better
parts
than
of
Halo
Halo
Reach.
4 that are fun.
No.
I
think-
hate Halo Reach's multiplayer out of all the Halo games.
Bloom
most.
is extremely frustrating.
Bloom will
so-
forever be the worst experience of my
You
life.
like ordnance drops? You like no D-scope?
I hate ordnance drops,
Promethean,
but you know what?
Promethean Vision built-in wall hacks?
BTB in Halo 4 was a fantastic game mode,
That
and it
shit's
carried me.
overrated. People prop up Halo 4. It wasn't all that. It was ass.
Halo 4 was
maybe-
better on MCC than it was on Xbox.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
absolutely.
you had the updated settings. Like, once you put in the legendary settings to H4, it's not like my ideal Halo game, but it's not bad. It's equal starts, it's no ordinances, it's everyone has the same ability, which I forget what it was in Legendary Slayer. No, it didn't even give you an ability, did it? It was just sprint,
No
right?
abilities.
Yeah, so it was,
Yeah, you
sprint
just
at
had
it was
sprint.
just sprint, so no abilities, no fucking Promethean vision. You couldn't spawn with a bolt shot. So like the Legendary Slayer settings were pretty solid. And I didn't play Halo 4, the original game, long enough to even know when those came out into the lifespan. So I'm guessing it was probably on the later end. But in MCC, it felt pretty good. No D-scope always was funky. Like, the flinch is so weird. It feels so weird to be trying to snipe someone. You get BR'd and your screen's like, and you're like, all right, well, I guess
shakes.
not. But, and then like the guns in H4, the hit reg is amazing, but also like everything is super easy to use, which like has its own downsides. And there's some okay maps for Halo 4, but I think the map pool wasn't that great either, for sure. But I mean, this is the story for a lot of the Halo games, right? If post content Halo 4 was the one that launched, I bet it does better. If the Reach did fine for what it was, but like if the H5 that was the end of like the 2-year cycle of all the updates was the H5 that launched, that was a solid video game. They fixed the rank settings. They added in Forge. They added in a ton of different weapons and playlists and game modes. Like H5 ended up being like a really solid package. It just at launch wasn't that as much. And even Infinite's the same thing, right? Like, now the game has co-op, so we're the real winners. Being able to play with our friends.
So often I am like talking to someone about Halo that hasn't played since launch, and they're like, wait, like that's in there? Oh, like there's Forge now? Like, oh, like there's the squad battles with the Halo 3 maps, that no one has any idea how much the game has changed. And that's just what a really bad first impression does,
100%.
That is
and
a problem. So many people have given up on Infinite, forgotten about it. They're not coming back for each season. Same thing goes for MCC with that horrible launch and the several horrible years that followed. People had forgotten about that game. Doesn't matter what cool updates it gets. Nobody's hopping back in to check them out. Because, that's what bad first impressions do.
I will say with MCC, now I agree, had Xbox MCC worked, it would have been way bigger. If PC MCC didn't launch with a shitty port of Reach only, it probably would have been bigger. But MCC Reach also did hit pretty decent numbers when H3 came out. And by the time H3 came out on MCC, I felt like MCC was a fine package. And those numbers still all fell off. So, like, I don't know. I think MCC
would be bigger, had it launched,
Yeah, I mean it would, but I think
had it launched in a good state is what I mean.
Well, if it launched in 2014 and it worked, and then they ported it to PC later, I think it would have been a lot bigger because you wouldn't have fucking jaded everyone out of you wouldn't have pissed off so many people that had these this just completely broken product. But I think at the end of the day, MCC was probably destined to dwindle just because it is just capitalizing on nostalgia, right? Like, we love Halo 3 and we love Halo 2 and stuff, but after you play thousands of hours of the game that you've already played 1,000+ hours in, it does, you get your fill at some point, and I think that was going to happen to MCC, kind of regardless of what they did, but I think that's why people, want a new classic Halo game, right? We want a new game that is built off the principles of a classic Halo game, because then, it's actually a new video game. It's not just Halo 3 2. It's actually just a new game. But all right, any I don't even know how we got on the topic of Halo, but any final Halo top thoughts?
None from me, man. Hopefully the underdogs win here, 3-4-3. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want Halo to succeed, and hopefully it does. So, all right, Jared, this is just a section for you. Do you want to talk about your excitement about Final Fantasy 14 coming to Xbox?
I mean, I don't know if I'm excited about it just because I play on PC, but I think it's just a huge move by Phil Spencer just because it's something he's been working on for years, and it's one of those things that people have always been on about Xbox. Where's that Japanese market? Where are the RPGs? Where's the Final Fantasy games? Because people are always saying it's not worth releasing Japanese games on Xbox because they don't sell. But then you got Final Fantasy 15, which I believe sold over 2 million copies on Xbox, and people are acting like that's a small number. Well, I mean, I think 2 million copies of a video game is worth the effort of bringing it to that system. It's not selling, let's say, 10 million plus like it does on another system, but I feel like you're making a profit, and that profit could lead to a bigger viewer or a player base down the road as you keep bringing these games to Xbox, because I think that's one of the biggest things about the whole Japanese market is that if you don't ever release the games, you can never build an audience for that market. And I think Final Fantasy 14 coming to Xbox is a great start to that because it's a fantastic MMO. It plays on controller. I don't want to say really good. Some people claim it's really good. I disagree, but maybe I'm just not used to it. And it's a good sign going forward because whatever his name is, Yoshi P or whatever says, or the people at Square Enix said this is the start of bringing more Final Fantasy to Xbox. This is the beginning of kind of that working relationship, and a lot of people seem to think Microsoft try to buy Square Enix now, which I don't actually think it's going to happen, but I think we're definitely going to see this whole thing, them move away from we're only going to release on PlayStation, because I mean there was a big deal about how many copies Final Fantasy 16 sold, even though it's a really good game. It only sold, I think it was like 3 million copies on PS5. And it's like when you put that much time into a game like that, I think it took them 7 years to make it. I can't even imagine what the budget was for those boss fights they made, because they're literally the highest like quality boss fights I've seen in any video game ever. It's like you have to think to yourself, yeah, we sold 3 million copies on PlayStation, but because of how good the game is, if we released it everywhere, that could have been 10 million plus copies, maybe 15 million copies down the road, kind of like something you saw with Elden Ring last year. So it's something I'm super excited about. And as usual, I would love to see them partner with Microsoft and bring Final Fantasy to Game Pass as like a paid subscription that's a part of it, because Final Fantasy's like, well, you got to pay monthly to play it. And I think these companies, if they start wrapping them into these services like Game Pass and PS Plus, you're going to see a lot of people jump on board to these services to play those MMOs, those style of games. And then, it'll just bleed over to the other games they have in those ecosystems. So that's how I'm feeling about it right now, anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
No, that's fair. I will say the thing you said about how like if you don't release the games, it's hard to build a fan base on a platform. I think too sometimes like those Japanese companies would release like one-offs and they would do badly, and it's like, well, yeah, I haven't played the prior 4 games. I'm not gonna play fucking the 6th installment of a series that's been around for 15 years. So yeah, I'm gonna skip this one. But I actually think it's very interesting that Final Fantasy 14 is coming to Xbox, because they just bought Activision Blizzard. Like, they already have a giant MMO that they could bring to Xbox, and like, I think it'll be really interesting to see, is Final Fantasy and WoW going to be on Xbox? Because that's actually pretty big. And like you said, you think it'd be cool if they brought it to Game Pass. Well, imagine if as a MMO player, you didn't even have to pay a subscription for either of those. You could just get Game Pass and you could just jump between the two, right? And I know MMO players don't really do that because you kind of just play one game until you die. But like, yeah, I think it's very interesting. Like, Xbox literally now owns World of Warcraft, but they're willing to bring like the biggest competitor to World of Warcraft to their platform. And I mean, obviously, like, Microsoft isn't some like not benevolent. What's the opposite of benevolent? Like some company that's out there for the good of all. But like, I think this is interesting to see. Like, maybe I'm just not smart enough, but I don't see how that helps your company you just purchased, right? If anything, you're bringing direct competition straight to their door, right?
Well, exactly. But it's kind of one of those things, Phil Spencer keeps preaching, he wants to bring everyone together under one ecosystem. Everyone should be able to play all games. And what better way to prove your point than like, all right, let's take the 2 biggest MMOs and put them head to head on our system and see what happens.
And see what
it'd
wins.
be funny if they did buy Square Enix and then all of a sudden they own the 2 biggest MMOs. Like, that would be insane. It's like, hey, let's have some crossover events and see what happens.
Yeah, no, that it would be very, very crazy. And I just totally lost my train of thought. All right, J-Man, BHP, any thoughts on Final Fantasy?
No.
Never really played it myself, but really glad that folks on Xbox are gonna get the chance to try it out for themselves. And I would probably play it and WoW, to be honest, because I never really played WoW, if they did follow through with your idea of being allowed to play it through the Game Pass. So maybe that will happen.
Oh, that actually, now that you said that, that reminds me of something I saw. So the rumor is that with the Activision Blizzard acquisition or whatever, is that you will only get access to those games by them if you have Game Pass Ultimate. It won't be available in any of the other tiers. That's the rumor I've seen. I don't know if it's true, but I think that would be a terrible mistake by them. Like, that would just be disservice to your fans. Like, I don't think they could do that. I'm just gonna call that a fake rumor, but who knows? That every time they do something good, they like to do something stupid. So we'll see what happens.
That would be a very odd decision, because like, Game Pass Ultimate's already like pretty expensive, so it's like I don't really know if, unless I was like actively trying to play a bunch of Activision games, which like unless you play COD every year or you play like Diablo or Overwatch, like what are you actually getting out of paying extra for that? Like they don't Activision Blizzard, while they make a fuck ton of money, don't actually release like that many games. Where I think the value you get from Game Pass is playing tons of shit that comes out all the time, right? So I don't really know if the value proposition is there, because if I'm gonna play one COD game a year, I'll just buy the COD game. Like if that's my option, or I just won't buy the COD game if it's bad, which like that's also a very much a possibility these days, right?
Maybe that's the hint towards WoW being a part of that subscription service. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, then you can play WoW on your PC or whatever. Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Kind of wrapping up here. We don't have many other topics on this list, and I think some of the topics are a bit weaker. So why don't we do 2 more? We'll rapid fire them. We'll do our 1 Q&A question. If anyone else wants to put in a question, get it in quick. And we'll wrap up maybe a smidge early. Okay, Oblivion remake. There's rumors that Oblivion is getting a remake. Does anyone care about that?
I fucking am super excited about that. Oblivion's is the best Elder Scrolls game ever made. Even though Skyrim's objectively better, I like Oblivion more. The world's cooler. The systems in the game were cooler. I could put a rubber band around my controller, crouch in the corner of a freaking hotel, and get my sneak skill to 100 and my stamina to 100, and it was a great gaming experience. And also, it was a great game to get 1,000 achievement score on when you sold those level 50 Halo 3 accounts for 1,600 Microsoft points. Those were the good old days, and I'm ready to relive them in Oblivion.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's cool, but man, I'm ready to hear some more about Elder Scrolls 6. When are we going to hear more about that?
I feel like this is a good stopgap, or not stopgap, but yeah, that's probably the right word. Like something to fill in the space, because Elder Scrolls 6 is probably like, didn't they recently say it was like soonish though? I thought something like a rumor came out that it was like 2025 or 2026 or something.
Yeah, 2025.
Which like,
I believe it was.
That doesn't seem right. Like maybe the Oblivion thing is in 2025, but how are they going to make Elder Scrolls 6? Starfield's not even out yet. It's the same company.
Yeah, well, they showed us that like teaser like years ago, right? It was just like
it was just
a mountain and like and the title. Yeah. So who knows how far away that is? So yeah, I think you're right in saying like this is something that'll hold us over for a little while because we probably got a ways to go.
Well, you see, Elder Scrolls 6 is inside of Starfield. It's a planet.
Oh,
you just gotta go to it, then you can play it.
It comes out in 2 years too. They're gonna shadow drop it. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna be the Starfield Elder Scrolls update. You get out of your ship, and you know how like those Skyrim memes where like it cuts to black, and then you're on the back of the cart. It'll be that in Starfield. You'll go to land on the planet, and your screen will cut to black, and you'll wake up, and you'll be in like the medieval times. It'll be great.
I love it.
All right, last topic, and I honestly don't know if we'll talk about this one very much, but obviously recently Call of Duty, and they've done it before, but I feel like there was some hubbub recently where they were adding in like Nicki Minaj and Future and Snoop Dogg. So like rather than talk about that specifically, because who really cares? I thought we could talk about the general like concept of crossovers in games, but also like celebrity cameos. And the big dog in this world's obviously Fortnite. They just announced another like anime collab earlier today, and sorry for all my anime fans out there, I couldn't tell you what anime it was, but it is
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, that's the one. So how do you guys feel? You can go either route. You can go about gaming crossovers, or you can go about like skins of celebrities and stuff like that in games.
Yeah, well, you see what Fortnite does well when they do the crossover is they actually change the gameplay. So like I remember when they were doing their whole like Star Wars collaboration, and then boom, like you could play as Darth Vader and you're running around the map and slicing people down with the lightsaber, right? But with the problem with other games like Call of Duty, it's just like a monetization plug, and they're just like, hey, like here's Nicki Minaj for $30 or whatever that skin goes for, and just pay for it, and now you can dress like the celebrity. So I'm cool with like the crossovers. I think they're awesome, but I just hope that more of them are not just a way to like get us to dig into our wallets because like you idolize some random celebrity, like that's how I feel with it.
Yeah, I
That,
mean,
that that's a really good way to put it, actually. Sorry, Rush.
uh,
I was just gonna say that's a really good way to put it because like when they had like the Dragon Ball Z event on Fortnite, I didn't buy any of the skins because I don't buy microtransactions. But I'm like, I want to jump on Fortnite and shoot a couple Kamehameha waves at people.
Yeah.
Like there's something for the free play player when these events come out. I don't have to buy something to experience what they're doing. I can just jump on and have fun with the event and go about my way. So yeah, I like that style. I wish more games would do that.
Fortnite does that a decent bit, like with the Star Wars stuff in the past too. But Call of Duty also does this, not with the celebrities, but like they did the boys crossover thing where like you can pick up the laser eyes and shit. I don't know if you guys have seen clips of that. And in the past, if you go back to like Warzone 1, they did that entire like Godzilla themed event where like you were playing
forgot about
Warzone 1, but it was like Godzilla in the background fighting the fucking thing.
is
Fighting
pretty cool.
whatever. But so like I don't know. I have like mixed feelings. I think like gaming crossovers are cool when they're done in moderation, but Fortnite does one like every week.
Yeah, they
And-
do it way too often. I agree.
And they've kind of like lost the appeal for me. But like when Gears 5 came out and they had the Halo characters, because obviously like I have more attachment to Halo than a lot of the Fortnite crossovers. When they did the Halo Reach characters into Gears 5, the cool thing too was for that weird mode. What was that mode in Gears 5 called? It wasn't the Horde mode. It was like the new mode. Whatever it was.
Hive Buster.
Hive Busters, yeah. The Reach characters had Halo themed abilities. Like Emil had a bubble shield, or Cat did, I don't remember which one. And like the other one had another Halo ability. So it was like cool that you not only could play as just a Halo skin in regular matchmaking, like I could just play Gears 5 matchmaking as Emil, which was already like pretty fun. You also had these other modes like you're saying where they actually implemented stuff from the IP that they're taking from. And I feel like recently Brawlhalla kind of did that with the Halo stuff where they added in Master Chief and Arbiter, and Arbiter's got an energy sword and a fuel rod cannon, and Master Chief's dual wielding, and he has like a rocket launcher. So I think the crossovers are a lot more cool, and they actually like are more than a skin. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys feel it kind of like with so many games going down the route of like all these skins and like all the crossovers, do you think it's like ruined the identity of different games?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't directly blame Fortnite, but they did like get the CEOs wearing like the suits and ties to get their eyes on the gaming industry and say like we want to make our bag too, and that's really what it feels like. But games like BattleBit and Remnant 2 that have moved to rapidly moved to like the top of the Steam charts and things like that. I just hope that that's proof out there that we don't need to go down this free to play monetization live service battle pass route for every single game to like make a buck. And there's a lot of hardcore gamers out there that are willing to spend the money on something that just has great gameplay. So hopefully we'll continue to see more examples of that.
Yeah. Alrighty. I think BHB's internet died or something if people are wondering where he went. So with that, I think that wraps up topics, unless there was any other topics you guys want to hit real quick.
Bed.
Perfect. What? Did you say bed?
Yeah.
All right. We'll do the one question, and I feel like we already talked about Halo, so maybe we'll do it briefly. But Evolved asked, tomorrow Phil Spencer calls you and offers you complete creative and executive control over the Halo franchise. As the all-powerful dictator and leader of Halo with unlimited resources, what choices do you make, and how do you plan to approach the franchise for the next decade? I'll let whichever of you go first.
Easy. I make Halo 3 Anniversary. I get the absolute best team I can. I don't know what team that is. I'd have to do a little research. Honestly, I'd probably just bring like the Doom guys over and be like, "All right, guys, you're pretty talented. I think you can make a Halo 3 Anniversary. Don't mess it up. Just literally copy and paste. Give it better graphics. Make a couple new weapons, a couple new maps. We're in a good place now. Everyone will come back. We'll all be happy. Maybe add on you know what? Just do everything. I have unlimited resources. We got a battle royale with it. We have the whole Tarkov style extraction shooter, and then while that's going on, then after that we'll shadow drop the Halo Mega Bloks game because everyone wants that game. It's like this hidden gem that's just lost to time that everyone loves to look up and wants to play. So obviously we make that happen. And then, Halo's back. We're in the golden age and we release it on PlayStation as well just to piss off people. Even though it would make the game more popular, we got to do that too. It's got to be done.
All right. So now Halo is once again the biggest game in the world, and Jared is praised by everyone. J-Man, what would you do to revive the world of Halo?
Yeah, I think we, in a sense, have the unlimited resources with Forge, right? I think Forge is the most underutilized piece of technology, in Halo, and I would love to see that whole side of the game improved, and also the way that they like get that into matchmaking and get people like playing in it. I think the classic Halo one is a great example. Like Fortress can build that already. Now get an easy way for people to play it, and get an easier way for people to play like all these other like crazy things that feel completely different from Halo. So I think that's one side of it, to really bridge the gap between like the Forge community and the people that are actively searching the game, and increase that population. And like I mentioned earlier, I think they just need that big innovation. So something along the lines of Warzone, where there's elites and brutes and PvE crazy things like all over the map, and a large scale battle, and banshees flying, and something just like insane, where like I mentioned, like all the big streamers want to like stream Halo because it's got this new crazy thing that certain affinity or 343 has played. So those are the things that I would push.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. All right. So I think what we do, all right, is we shut down Infinite tomorrow. We shut down MCC. All right. We fire 343. We bring back Ensemble Studios. We release Halo Wars 3 and the Halo MMO that never came out. We call it a day. All right. And then we let Halo die.
Just let it die.
Just let it die.
Perfect. Absolutely. Perfect.
Nah, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a hypothetical, but there's who knows. Like, I feel like Halo 3 Anniversary is kind of a slam dunk just in terms of getting some fan appeal back, or like some fan sentiment back, like positive. So I think you ship that, but I actually think you don't add to it. I think you just ship a better looking Halo 3 with a nicer campaign and nicer cutscenes. You ship the matchmaking or the multiplayer with the same content it had back in the day. Maybe add a couple cut maps that were like cut from the game, and then you call it. And it's not a live service game. It's just a price. You pay the price, and that's it. And then they actually work on a new game, whether it's, a Tarkov style game or just a new Halo game. Like, it could just be another arena shooter, right? Something new. Because I think, like, even as Infinite continues to improve, I don't think it'll ever get over the poor launch reception to the point. So I don't think it ever recovers past that. So I think you do need like a new game to give it another shot. So maybe actually spend enough time this time finishing the game before you put it out. So put enough resources, put people in position that actually can like make good decisions and make sure the game, like, you shouldn't need 6-7 years to ship an unfinished game, right? Like, if you have that long, it should be finished, right? So like, properly scale your video game so that you can finish it and stuff like that. So all right.
Oh, absolutely. And just real quick, jokes aside, Halo 3 Anniversary, I would actually only add a custom game browser and mod support on console.
Yeah, you could do those. Those are
PC.
those are slam dunks. Like, no one would criticize that. Custom game browser would be huge and very easy. So that's a definite easy win for sure. Mod support would be cool. I mean, MCC has it, so if they brought it to console with a Halo 3 anniversary, it would be pretty sick. All right. There was one other question here. Actually, there's two other ones, and I lost them. So hold on. Please hold. This is my pro hosting skills. Okay. This is just a meme. All right. Danger Cactus asked, do you think there should be more cacti in first-person shooters, or even just gaming in general?
You should play as the cacti. A cacti with a little
Absolutely.
cowboy hat, right? And he's got the arm that pops out, the little revolver on it, and he's a badass cactus cowboy. That's what we need.
That's ideal. All right. Last question. Shy in chat asked, is Halo Infinite career progression good or lacking? And if it's lacking, what should they add for more example or for more rewards instead of emblems? So, I mean, I think like it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I feel like everyone says it's pretty lacking. It's pretty much just a number. So yeah, tying armor coatings or armor in general to it would have been cool, but there's a reason they didn't, and that's because they want to sell you that shit. So I could sit here and tell you like what I would have preferred, but like there's a reason we didn't get it. So I don't know, what do you guys think about the progression system?
Yeah, no,
It's
I think
meaningless.
you nailed it on the head. But I also missed how they did it in Halo 3, where like there was some type of ranked requirement to get
Yeah.
to like the very top, you know? And that was the ultimate flex of both experience and skill. And, you know, I don't think it should gatekeep like something that you might be able to like earn, but to be able to flex that, man, like that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like it'd be cool if you hit Onyx rank, but if you were so far into social progression, it made something together. Like 5-star
Mhm.
general in Halo 3.
Yeah.
I would absolutely be all for that.
All right. I think that wraps up the episode. We hope to see Popkey revive from the dead. Next time we'll try and bring Kevin or Luke back if they can make some time for us. No, I'm just kidding. But before we go, J-Man, why don't you tell everyone what are you up to these days? What's coming new?
Getting married in October. Started dance lessons today.
Ooh.
So that's the big thing that's coming up. And the
Ooh.
tournament that we talked about earlier as well. So, and other than that, praying that one day Destiny and Halo are on top again. And chilling until that. So
I mean, let's
that's
be
what's next for me.
be real. Like, despite all the issues with Destiny, it's not that far. Like, it isn't like it is completely fallen off. Like, it still gets pretty
of
damn
course.
good numbers whenever they launch an
It's
expansion.
you know, in reality, like it is a great game with lots of content. And you know, I have 10,000 hours on the game.
Holy.
If I do 10,000 hours of anything, I am going to get bored of it, right? So that's just the way it is. And you know, we got Marathon. I can't wait to see what it looks like.
I think if you have 10,000 hours, you need to get the Steam review that just says this game sucks. 10,000 hours played.
Yeah, you see a lot of those for Destiny. It's really funny.
But no, I mean, yeah, if you play a game that, I mean, Destiny has had its issues over the years, so like it's not like as funny as the meme, but it's always solid. I love to see those Steam reviews. Jared, what do you have
hey,
to?
I've probably played a combination of 10,000 hours of Halo. Sorry to butt
Oh
in.
no, you're good.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have as well.
Probably
I
over
have
the years.
16,000 hours in Halo.
You added it up?
So yeah, it's 16,000.
Oh my god, how'd you like find?
I had like 500. I have like 580 days in Halo 3.
Oh my god. Okay.
Back then.
I mean, I had a lot. I don't know if I had that much, but I'd have to go check. I mean, I played a lot of Halo 3. I actually don't know if I'd have 10K hours because I played a lot of OG Halo 3. I really didn't play that much Reach. Like, I played it for like a month or two, and then I was like, this is kind of whatever to me. And then Halo 4 I played for 2 days when I borrowed my friend's Halo 4 disc, and then I realized I wasn't going to purchase the game. And then I played, like, when Halo 5 came out, I played, like, the first 5-6 months, so I probably had, like, maybe 1,000 hours in that. And then Infinite came out, and it's about the same. Like, it kind of did the same thing, so I think I accidentally just rated in the middle of talking. Jared, so for the VOD, Jared, yeah, for the VOD, what, Jesus Christ. For the VOD, tell people what you're going to be doing.
Okay, for anyone who actually watches to this point, I'm gonna be playing Baldur's Gate 3, Immortals of Avion, or whatever it's called. Uh, freaking Armor Core 6, and the only review I know that I have coming next is Sea of Stars. I might try to review one of those other games, but Sea of Stars is gonna be like my main focus on my next video, so that's what you can expect from me,
Fun.
which I'm excited for.
I'm interested for Immortals of Avion, and I also think there's a good chance it's not going to be that good. Like, I just have a weird feeling about it. Like, it just seems like one of those games that's going to come out and be like, meh.
Could have been better.
We'll hope that I'm wrong. All right, that's going to do it for the podcast. Thanks for everyone for watching. Yeah, do podcasty things, and we'll see you all next time.